Here we have 10 destinations that are ranked as the world's most dangerous tourist hotspots. You'll probably find yourself thinking, no way, that can't be right. Some of us may disagree with a few of the locations that have made the list, and others might think certain cities have been excluded. It's worth remembering that this is an independent ranking, made up of the most popular tourist regions, that are most likely to see you run into trouble. Not necessarily fatal trouble, but some form of ill fortune. So, without further ado, prepare to be surprised. Number 10. Peru. When you think of Peru as a tourist destination, you think of the ancient civilizations, Machu Picchu, the Andes Mountains, the unique culture and the incredible landscape to be explored here. You probably don't immediately think, wandering off the tourist trail could be very detrimental to your safety. Terrorist groups, and drug cartels, have a heavy influence in Peru, and you need to remember this at all times. Read up on some safety tips before heading over to Peru, and you will have the time of your life. Number 9. Bangkok, Thailand. Thailand has been South Asia's tourist hub for years, and is truly one of the world's most fascinating cities. In Bangkok, you are guaranteed to have a memorable time, although without watching your step, this could turn really ugly. Thailand has problems with crime, and is rife with corruption, which has stunted its progression for as long as memory serves. Organized crime is prominent in Bangkok, and authorities seem to do the opposite of prevention. In extreme cases, it is not uncommon for tourists to have fatal accidents that are followed by bungled, incomplete police investigations. That said, you're more likely to be targeted by a street scam, a police bribe, or even a thief, than any physical violence. Make sure to keep your valuables safe and hidden, and learn to recognize common scams. Number 8. Rio de Janeiro, Brazil. You may not be surprised that Rio makes the list, although, to consider it to be too dangerous to travel, would be wrong to say. It's not, and if you have the opportunity, you should pay a visit. Authorities have successfully, and dramatically, stepped up efforts to make the city safer since the 90s, when it was classed as a hazard, across the board. It was considered safe enough to host the world's largest sporting event, the Olympics 2016. But you shouldn't take that as an opportunity to let your guard down. Plenty of people are robbed in Rio every year, and tourists are continually targeted by thieves and con artists, so make the effort to keep yourself safe. On top of that, you have the favelas, which doesn't have a good reputation. The bottom line when it comes to these are, avoid them. By venturing into the favelas, you are opening yourself up to all types of criminal activity. Number 7. Israel. Israel is again perhaps not such a surprising addition to the list, considering its current political and foreign policies. It is, however, one of those destinations that will change a traveler's life. The history, both recent and ancient, is as rich and fascinating as you will find anywhere in the world. The reason it makes it onto the list is perhaps unfortunately born out of that history. It is a region that is at continuous odds with its close neighbors. This may involve improvised explosive devices, bomb attacks, and rockets targeting locals, just as much as tourists. The Holy Land of Jerusalem is one of the most volatile destinations of the world. It's not quite on par with places like Mogadishu or Kabul in terms of violence, but it does see a high influx of tourists every year, and for that reason, its inclusion in this list is warranted. Number 6. Bogota, Colombia. Granted, the capital of Colombia has become a much safer destination since the days of Pablo Escobar and the rule of the cartels. Efforts to increase safety and draw higher levels of tourism have been somewhat successful. The police provide a much higher level of leadership, and the city and country is certainly a destination we would encourage to add to your bucket list. Despite this, the narcotics trade is still prevalent in rural areas, and traveling outside of tourist areas is not advised. The cartels have an instilled influence within the people, and this can occasionally find its way into larger cities. Tourists have been known to be targeted for kidnappings, so make sure you keep a low profile. Fortunately, the rebel group have confirmed that they will end any kidnapping and release all hostages. Number 5. Mumbai, India. Mumbai comes with the expected tourist threats faced in a developing country where extreme poverty and vast wealth meet every day. Pickpocketing is an art form in Mumbai, and leaving your possessions unattended, even for a second, is not a wise move. Mumbai is considered as one of the wonders of the world, and checking it out is a must for anyone considering themselves as a traveler. Just keep your belongings close, and you will have an amazing time. Number 4. Haiti, and the Dominican Republic. The Caribbean perhaps isn't a place you'd immediately think of when it comes to dangerous tourist destinations, probably more along the lines of paradise. Well, it certainly is paradise if you stay in the resort, but we all know that it isn't always the best spent vacation. Unfortunately, straying from the resort in Haiti, or the Dominican Republic, can land you in a heap of trouble. Credit card fraud is rampant, and bank machines aren't very reliable either. Kidnapping, muggings, and even assault are known to happen, and while numbers of deadly crimes are dropping, robberies and violence are not. Even resort grounds have a high level of reported criminality. Much of this can be blamed on the immense poverty, affecting mainly the Haiti side of the island, which is by far the worst of the two countries. Number 3. Kingston, Jamaica. Another Caribbean island makes an appearance. Jamaica is famous for its singer, Bob Marley, and has a chilled-out vibe among other things. Jamaica also offers fantastically beautiful scenery, alongside its luxury beach resorts. Outside of them, however, it's a very different story. The drugs trade is rampant, despite police and military efforts, sometimes violent. Robbery and assault are common, targeting many tourists. Whilst some cities like Spanish Town and Montego are slightly safer than Kingston, Jamaica is a place one should exercise the highest level of caution. Number 2. Cape Town, South Africa. Perhaps another unsurprising entry, however, Cape Town and Africa in general should certainly not be written off. For some experienced travelers, Africa is the only true land of self-discovery, and the final destination for all those who want to understand the planet. That said, it's not a place for the meek or unprepared. Cape Town is a wonderful example of Africa. Its difficult history and recent political developments have led to a level of instability that makes the city a dangerous place for locals and tourists. Anyone considering a trip to Cape Town, or Africa in general, needs to check out Backpacking Africa for Beginners. It's full of tips on traveling to Africa. This fantastic blog also outlines how to stay safe in Africa, from someone who lives it every day. Number 1. Acapulco, Mexico. Mexico was sure to make the list at some stage. Although these days it's hard to judge whether Acapulco, or many Mexican cities for that matter, can still be considered tourist destinations. Its beautiful beaches, a perfect climate, and cuisine that's hard to beat, doesn't outweigh being named the third most violent city in the world. It used to be one of Mexico's most prosperous cities, and is still one of the country's most popular tourist hubs, but the high levels of crime has meant tourists and locals are under constant threat of danger. The narcotics industry naturally plays a huge role in the city's crime, but the tourist population also plays a big role. People do still travel to Acapulco and enjoy themselves, leaving with positive memories, so not all is bad. Take care of yourself, don't make yourself an obvious target, and you're likely to get on fine. While this list should not be taken lightly, and tourists should constantly be vigilant at all times, it should also be remembered that there are much more dangerous places on Earth. It certainly does not recommend labeling any of these incredible destinations off-limits.